The mysterious passenger. Jake's small cargo ship floated quietly in space as he checked on his mysterious passenger for the 10th time. The woman lay on his spare bunk, her breathing now steady. Her fancy clothes were dirty and torn, but even Jake could tell they were worth more than his ship. The strange glowing mark on her neck caught his eye again, pulsing softly with a blue light. "Who are you?" he whispered, not expecting an answer. Her eyes snapped open. In one quick move, she sat up and pressed herself against the wall, looking around wildly. "You're safe," Jake said, holding up his hands. "I found your escape pod. You were hurt." The woman stared at him, her eyes sharp and calculating. After a long moment, she relaxed slightly. "Thank you," she said. Her voice was clear and strong, with an accent Jake had never heard before. "I am Sarah." Jake noticed the pause before she said her name. Just like he noticed how she sat up straight, even though she must still be in pain, and how her eyes had already mapped every exit in the room. This was no ordinary passenger. "I'm Jake," he said. "Just a cargo pilot. You've been asleep for 6 hours. Want some water?" Sarah nodded. Jake handed her a bottle, watching how she checked the seal before drinking. Definitely not ordinary. "Where are you headed?" she asked. "I can pay for transport tow." A loud alarm cut through the ship. Jake ran to the cockpit, Sarah right behind him. 3 sleek black ships had appeared on his radar, moving fast. "Friends of yours?" Jake asked. Sarah's face went pale. "No, not friends. Can this ship go faster?" "She's not much for speed," Jake said, pushing the engines harder. The black ships were gaining, but she's got a few tricks. Sarah's hands moved over his control panel like she'd been flying ships all her life. "You have a modified shield generator. And yes, there's a debris field nearby. Head there." Jake wanted to ask how she knew about his illegal shield mods, but the black ships were firing now. He turned toward the debris field, a graveyard of old ships and space junk. "They're using neural tracking," Sarah said, still working on the controls. "Standard military grade. Your shield frequency, please." Jake told her, surprised again. Neural tracking was expensive tech. These weren't pirates. They were military or something worse. Sarah's fingers flew over the controls. The shield hummed differently. "I've changed the resonance pattern. It should confuse their tracking." They dove into the debris field. Jake weaved between huge chunks of metal, his hand steady. The black ships followed, but their shots went wide now. Sarah had done something to make his ship harder to target. "There's a bigger piece ahead," she said. "On my mark, cut power and rotate 180 degrees. Jake glanced at her. She spoke like someone used to giving orders, someone who expected to be obeyed. But right now, those black ships were getting closer. "Mark." Jake cut power. The ship spun silently. Through the window, he saw a massive piece of an old cruiser floating by. The black ships shot past them. And then, "Full power," Sarah commanded. Jake's engines roared to life. They shot back the way they came, while the black ships were still turning around. But one of them was faster, breaking off to chase them. "We need security codes to reach the safe lanes," Jake said. The safe lanes were protected routes, guarded by automated defense systems. Without codes, they'd be shot down. Sarah hesitated for just a second. Then she reached past Jake and typed in a complex code. The safe lane barriers ahead turned green, letting them through. The black ship had to turn away. They were safe. Jake let out a breath and turned to Sarah. Those were some impressive moves back there. And that security code, that was a royal-level clearance. Just who are you really? But Sarah didn't answer. She had collapsed in the co-pilot's seat, blood seeping through her clothes where her wounds had reopened. The glowing mark on her neck pulsed brighter. And for a moment, Jake saw something that looked like a crown in the blue light. He had a feeling his life was about to get a lot more complicated. The space station's medical robot had just finished treating Sarah's wounds when the lights went out. Jake reached for his emergency flashlight, but Sarah grabbed his hand to stop him. "Don't," she whispered. "The darkness is our friend." In the dim glow of emergency strips, Jake saw her slip off the medical bed like a shadow. She moved without making a sound, something he'd never seen before. The robot lay silent, its power cut along with the lights. Through the darkness, sounds of boots echoed down the station's corridor. Lots of boots. "How did they find us?" Jake whispered. "They didn't," Sarah said, her voice tight. "They're already everywhere. The rebellion has spread faster than I thought." She touched the glowing mark on her neck, which now pulsed with a faint red light instead of blue. "We need to get to your ship, but first, I must show you something." Before Jake could answer, Sarah pulled out a small silver ball from her pocket. She twisted it, and suddenly the air around them shimmered. Jake gasped as the medical room transformed into what looked like a royal chamber, filled with floating screens showing different parts of space. "A pocket dimension," Sarah explained, keeping her words simple. "The royal family's emergency safe room. We have 10 minutes before it collapses." Jake stared at the screens. Each showed massive ships painted with rebel colors attacking different planets. In one screen, he saw the capital world's royal palace burning. "I am not Sarah," she said quietly. "I am Princess Zora of the Stellar Empire, or what's left of it." She pointed to one screen showing a throne room. "That was yesterday. The rebels attacked during my mother's speech about giving more power to the common people. They killed everyone, except me." Jake watched as the screen showed rebels storming the throne room, but something caught his eye. "Wait," he said. "That rebel leader, he's wearing a royal ring. The same kind your mother had on." Zara's eyes widened. She zoomed in on the image. "Uncle Darius," she breathed. "He's leading the rebellion. But why?" "He supported Mother's plans to share power." An explosion rocked the station, making the pocket dimension flicker. Through its shimmering walls, they could see shadows moving outside. Later, Jake said, "How do we get to my ship?" Zara smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. "The same way I escaped the palace." She pulled out another silver ball. "The royal family has many secrets. Some good, some terrible. Ready to see one?" She threw the ball at the floor. It cracked open, releasing a swirl of silver mist. The mist formed into copies of Jake and Zora. "Quantum ghosts," Zora explained. "They'll run one way, we'll go another." "But Jake," she grabbed his arm. "Once I do this, you're deeper in than ever. The rebels will want you dead just for knowing these secrets. Last chance to walk away." Jake looked at the screens again. Every planet, every system he'd ever known was falling into chaos. But this woman, this princess, she was still fighting, still trying to help her people. "One condition," he said. "No more lies, even small ones." Zara nodded. "I swear on my mother's crown." Now, she touched her glowing mark, making it pulse brighter. "Let me show you how a princess runs for her life." The quantum ghosts burst out the door, drawing shouts and gunfire. In the chaos, Jake and Zara slipped into the station's maintenance tunnels. But as they crawled through the dark spaces, Jake noticed something strange. On every screen they passed, the same message kept flashing. "ATTNTYON. Princess Zara is dead. Long live the new order." Zara saw it too. She touched her neck mark again, and for a moment, it changed from a simple glow into a complex pattern, a pattern that looked exactly like the royal family's crown. "They think I'm dead," she whispered. "Good, because what I'm about to do next, no one will see coming." In the distance, more explosions rocked the station. But now, in the darkness, Jake saw Zara smile. It was the kind of smile that changed worlds. Jake's cargo ship drifted silently through the glowing clouds of the purple nebula. In the cockpit, Zara sat with her eyes closed, the mark on her neck pulsing with strange patterns. Small drops of light floated from it, forming a map in the air. "The mark isn't just for show," she said, opening her eyes. "It's called the Royal Genetic Key. Every ruler gets one, but each is different. Mine," she touched it gently, "mine can wake up something ancient, something hidden in places like this." As if responding to her words, the nebula's purple clouds parted, revealing a massive shape. Jake's jaw dropped. It was a ship, but like nothing he'd ever seen. Its hull was crystal, shimmering with its own light. But it was broken, split in half. "The Starbreaker," Zara said. "One of the old kingdom's guardian ships. There were 7 of them. My uncle." She clenched her fists. "He's not just taking over the empire. He's looking for these ships." Suddenly, their radar beeped. A small mining ship was approaching, its engines damaged. "We should hide," Jake said, reaching for the controls. "No," Zara said, watching the ship. "Something's not right. Look at how it's moving. That's not a damaged engine. That's how I used to sneak out of the palace." She jumped up, hands flying over the control panel. A secret frequency opened, and a familiar voice filled the cockpit. "Repeat, this is Royal Guard Captain Lin. Princess, if you're out there, if you're really alive." The meteor showers on Titan were always beautiful in spring. Zara's eyes filled with tears. Only the real Lin would know about those nights. She was my bodyguard, my teacher, my friend. But before she could respond, the mining ship's signal cut off. 3 rebel cruisers appeared from behind the broken crystal ship. "Trap," Jake said, starting emergency maneuvers. "No," Zara said, her voice strange. "Not a trap. A test." She stood up, her mark glowing brighter than ever. "Lin is showing me something. Look at where the rebel ships are." Jake looked closer at his screens. The rebel ships had formed a triangle around the broken crystal ship. "Just like the royal defense pattern," Zara whispered. "They're not trying to catch us. They're trying to wake it up. My uncle must have learned how the old kingdom ships work. If he gets this one." The rebel ships fired, but not at them. Their combined beams hit the crystal ship in a precise pattern. The broken vessel began to glow. "No," Zora shouted. Her mark flared blindingly bright. She pressed her hand against the ship's window, and something incredible happened. The purple clouds of the nebula began to move, swirling like a whirlpool. The crystal ship's glow changed from white to deep purple. The rebel ships tried to pull back, but the nebula's clouds wrapped around them like ropes. "The royal key," Zora gasped, her face pale. "It doesn't just wake up the old ships. It can control space itself." The rebel ship's engines screamed as they fought against the purple clouds, but it was useless. They were pulled into the nebula's heart, disappearing completely. The crystal ship's glow faded, and it looked dead once again. Jake stared at Zora. She stared at her hands. "I didn't know," she whispered. "All those lessons about the royal key, about our family's power. They never told us what it really was." She looked at Jake, her eyes full of fear and wonder. "We're not just rulers of an empire. We're guardians of something much older, something that can bend space and time." The mining ship's signal suddenly came back. "Princess," Lin's voice was thick with emotion. "You passed the first test, but there are 6 more ships out there. And your uncle," there was a pause, "he doesn't just have his royal key anymore. He has your mother's too. And he's learning to use them both." In the distance, the crystal ship began to sink back into the nebulous clouds. But before it vanished completely, Jake saw something that made his blood run cold. A small rebel probe, attached to its hull, blinking with a steady red light. They weren't the only ones watching. And somewhere out there, Uncle Darius now knew exactly what his niece could do. The game had changed, but who was really playing it? Hidden beneath the ice storms of Europa, Jake watched in amazement as Princess Zara faced 300 former royal soldiers. They all knelt before her, but she shook her head. "Stand up," she said. "I'm not here for your loyalty to a crown. I'm here because we've all been fooled." She touched her royal key mark, and the air filled with holograms. They showed Uncle Darius speaking to dark figures hidden in shadows long before the rebellion began. "The shadow ships," she said. "They're not from our empire. They're not even from this galaxy." The holograms showed the black ships that had chased them emerging from a tear in space. "My uncle made a deal with them. They get our ancient crystal ships. He gets to rule what's left." Captain Lin stepped forward, her mining ship uniform now replaced with modified royal armor. "The aliens want the crystal ships because they're afraid of them. The Old Kingdom used these ships to seal the borders between realities, to keep things out that should stay out." The soldiers muttered among themselves. Jake noticed something odd. Their weapons weren't standard royal issue. They looked older, ancient, even. "You've been guarding something here," Jake said suddenly. "Something besides an ice base." Lynn smiled. "Clever cargo pilot." She pressed her hand against the ice wall. It melted away, revealing a massive cavern. Inside was a graveyard of ships, but not crystal ships. These were made of black metal that seemed to swallow light. "Shadow ship kills from the Old Kingdom," Lynn explained. 3,000 years ago, they tried to invade. The crystal ships stopped them, sealed the rifts between worlds. We've guarded their remains ever since, learning their secrets. Zara stared at the dead ships. "That's why my uncle needed both keys, one to wake the crystal ships, and one to wake these," a new voice said. Everyone turned. A young soldier named Kai stepped forward. His eyes glowed with a strange purple light, the same color as Zora's key. "I'm sorry, Princess," he said, "but we needed to be sure." The purple light spread across his skin, forming patterns. "I am the last guardian of the Old Kingdom. We didn't all die. We waited, watched, protected." He raised his hand, and the ice cavern transformed. Suddenly, they stood in what looked like a star map, but the stars were connected by glowing lines of purple energy. "The network," Kai said. "The real power your family was meant to guard. Not ships, not weapons. Knowledge. The ability to connect worlds, heal rifts, build bridges between realities. But your uncle," his face darkened, "he wants to break it all. Let the shadow realm flood in. Remake everything." Zara's key pulsed in response to the map. "Then why wait until now? Why let him get so close?" "Because of you," Kai said simply. "Your mother knew what was coming. She chose you to bear that specific key. It's not like the others. It's the first key, from when the network was young, when it could still change." Suddenly, alarms blared. The ice above them shook. "Rebel ships," Lynn shouted. "Hundreds of them." But Zara wasn't looking up. She was looking at her key, which now showed the same pattern as the network lines. "It's not about fighting," she whispered. "It never was." She touched the pattern, and every soldier's ancient weapon began to glow. "It's about connecting, bringing things together." The rebel ships broke through the ice. But as they did, Zora's key pulsed one final time. Every ancient weapon fired, not bullets or beams, but streams of pure purple energy. They shot into the rebel ships and connected them, linked them, made them part of something bigger. The rebel soldiers inside suddenly stopped, their eyes clearing as if waking from a dream. On every screen, they could see the same thing. The shadow ships, emerging from their rifts, ready to take a universe that had forgotten how to stand together. Jake looked at Zora. She stood straighter now, not like a princess, but like something older, a guardian. "Your uncle wanted an empire," she said, her voice carrying to every linked ship above. "I want a network. Who's with me?" The response came not in words, but in purple light, as ship after ship joined the growing constellation above Eurova's ice. The real war was about to begin, and it would be fought not with weapons, but with connections. In the Shadow Realm, dark shapes stirred, sensing the network awakening after 3,000 years. They had no idea what was coming. The hologram of Queen Helena flickered in the darkness of Jake's cargo hold. Her final message played as Zora, Jake, and Kai watched in silence. But this time, something was different. Zara's network-enhanced key revealed hidden layers in the message. "My daughter," the Queen's image said, but now her words carried pulses of purple light. "If you're seeing these patterns, you've discovered the truth about the network. But there's more." The hologram changed, showing a massive space station shaped like a DNA spiral. "This is the Helix Archive. Your uncle thinks it's just a weapons storage. He's wrong." The image zoomed in, revealing thousands of glowing pods inside the station. "These are memory seeds. Each contains the consciousness of an old kingdom guardian. Not just their memories, their entire being, preserved in quantum crystal." Kai stepped forward, his guardian marks glowing brighter. "The last sleep," he whispered. "We thought they were all destroyed." "Your uncle will attack the archive soon," the Queen continued. "He wants to destroy what he thinks are weapons." But Zara, the hologram, looked directly at her daughter, almost as if it could see her. "The seeds aren't meant to be awakened. They're meant to be connected. The network isn't just a way to link worlds. It's a way to link minds, souls." Suddenly, the ship's sensors screamed. A rift was opening nearby, but this one was different. Instead of the usual dark tier, this one shimmered with all colors at once. "Rainbow Bridge," Lynn's voice crackled over the comms. "Ancient Royal Emergency Protocol. Something's coming through." A ship emerged from the rift, but it was like no ship they'd ever seen. It seemed to be made of pure light, constantly shifting and changing shape. On its hull, patterns matched the ones on Zora's key. "That's impossible," Kai breathed. "That's the Genesis, the first crystal ship ever built. It vanished 3,000 years ago, at the height of the Shadow War. The Genesis sent out a signal, not in words or code, but in pure network energy." Zora's key absorbed it, and suddenly she gasped. Her eyes glowed with the same rainbow light as the ship. "Mom," she whispered. Through the network link, they all heard the Queen's voice. "Did you think I really died in the throne room, daughter? The attack wasn't just a rebellion. It was a chance to activate the Genesis protocol." But before they could process this, space itself seemed to crack. Massive shadow ships poured through, led by Uncle Darius's flagship. However, he wasn't targeting them. He was heading straight for the Helix Archive. "He doesn't know," the Queen's voice said through the network. "The seeds, the Genesis, the network, they're all parts of a key to unlock." She paused. "To unlock time itself." Jake looked at Zora. "Your mother hid herself in time." "No," Kai said, his guardian marks now showing the same rainbow pattern. "She hid time in herself. In all of us. Every guardian. Every memory seed. Every crystal ship. We're all fragments of time, scattered to prevent the Shadow Realm from consuming all realities at once." Zora's key suddenly pulsed with blinding light. The Genesis ship responded, its hull opening like a flower made of light. Inside was a sight that defied understanding, a space that contained all spaces, a time that contained all times. "Choice time, daughter," the Queen's voice echoed. "We can wake the seeds, restore the guardians, rebuild the walls between realities. Or we can change everything." Zora finished. "Not just fight the shadows, but transform them. Turn enemies into allies, darkness into light." The shadow ships surrounded them now. Uncle Darius's voice boomed across space. "The seeds will burn. Reality will burn. Everything will." He stopped. Through every ship, every mind linked to the network, they felt it. The Genesis wasn't a ship at all. It was a choice given form, a moment of transformation waiting 3,000 years to happen. Zara looked at Jake, then at Kai, then at the infinite possibilities spinning within the Genesis. "Mom," she said finally, "you forgot something about time." She held out her hand to Jake. He took it without hesitation. "The past isn't just about what was," she continued. "It's about what could have been. And the future." She raised their joined hands. Her key's rainbow light merged with Jake's simple human determination, with Kai's ancient guardian power, with every connected mind in the network. The future is about what we choose to become. The Genesis pulsed one final time, and reality held its breath, waiting to see what choice they would make. The shadows watched too, feeling something they hadn't felt in 3,000 years. Inside the Genesis ship, time moved differently. Jake hung suspended in rainbow light, watching as moments from past and future played around him like falling stars. But he couldn't move, couldn't reach Zora, because Uncle Darius had her. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Darius said, holding Zara in a bubble of shadow energy. His own royal key had turned pitch black, corrupted by shadow realm power. Time itself, laid bare, but you're all seeing it wrong. Through the network link, everyone connected could hear him, could see what he saw. The shadow realm wasn't just darkness. It was pure possibility. Unlimited potential. The old kingdom didn't seal the shadows to save reality, Darius revealed. They sealed them because they were afraid. Afraid of true freedom. He gestured, and the rainbow light parted, showing infinite parallel worlds. Every choice, every path not taken. The shadows preserve them all. They are choice itself. Zara struggled in the shadow bubble, but then she saw something that made her stop. In one of the parallel worlds, her mother hadn't been kind, hadn't prepared for the future, had been a tyrant. "That's right," Darius said softly. "I didn't betray the Empire. I saved it from what it could have become, what it was becoming in 1,000 other timelines." The memory seeds in the Helix archive began to pulse. Each one showed a different guardian, facing a different shadow invasion. Some failed, some succeeded, some chose to join the shadows. The Genesis protocol wasn't about hiding time, Darius continued. It was about showing us the truth. Every choice creates shadows, paths not taken, lives not lived. The shadow realm isn't our enemy. It's the price of free will. Kay's guardian marks flickered, shifting between rainbow and shadow patterns. He's not completely wrong, he admitted. The old kingdom's records, they're not complete. We only saw what they wanted us to see. But Jake wasn't watching the parallel worlds or listening to Darius. He was watching Zara. Her key wasn't fighting the shadow bubble. It was resonating with it. "Time for your choice, dear niece," Darius said. "Join me. Help me free all possibilities." Or, he raised his corrupted key. The shadow realm began pouring through, not to destroy, but to merge, to offer every possible choice to everyone. That's when Jake understood, and through his connection to Zara, she understood too. "You're right, Uncle," she said, "about everything and nothing." Her key pulsed, not with rainbow light or shadow, but with something new, something in between. "The shadows aren't evil," she continued, "but neither is the light. They're both." She looked at Jake, and in that look was every choice they could ever make, every path they could walk. They're both necessary. The Genesis ship's walls became transparent, showing the entire fleet, royal, rebel, and shadow, all frozen in time. In each ship, each mind, each heart, the same battle played out. Light versus shadow, certainty versus possibility. "The real prison," Zara said, her voice carrying through all realities, "isn't the wall between worlds. It's the wall between hearts." Her key flared, but instead of pushing the shadows back or letting them in, it began to dance with them. Rainbow light and living shadow, weaving together like DNA strands. "Every choice creates shadows," she asked her uncle. "Then let's make the hardest choice of all." She reached through the shadow bubble. not to break it, but to take Darius's hand. Light and shadow swirled around them both. "Let's choose to be both," she said. "Light and shadow, order and chaos. What is and what could be." The Genesis ship pulsed one final time. The memory seeds cracked open, but what emerged wasn't just the old Guardians. It was every version of them, from every timeline, choosing unity over division. Reality shuddered. In the space between moments, Jake made his way to Zora. Not to save her. Not this time. This time, they would save each other. And in their choice to stand together, princess and pilot, light and shadow, certainty and possibility, they offered every reality a new path. The path between. But the price of that path, that would be revealed in their final hour. And somewhere in the depths of time, Queen Helena watched, and smiled, and whispered, "Now you understand. The Genesis Protocol wasn't about the end of all things. It was about the beginning." The universe held its breath as Zora danced between realities. Her body was pure energy now, a bridge between light and shadow. Jake watched from the Genesis ship as she wove together a million timelines, each one showing a different version of their story. But something was wrong. "The network can't hold," Kai shouted, his guardian marks flickering. "Too many possibilities at once. It's going to collapse." Through their connection, Jake felt Zora's pain. She was trying to hold everything together, every choice, every path, every possible future. The weight of infinite realities was crushing her. Then he heard her mother's voice, not from the past or future, but from somewhere in between. The final truth. "My daughter. Why we scattered the seeds through time. Why we built the Genesis." Queen Helena's voice echoed across all timelines. It was never about choosing between light and shadow. It was about the one power stronger than both. Uncle Darius laughed, his body half shadow, half light. "Love, hope, some foolish royal ideal." "No," Jake said suddenly, understanding flooding through him. "It's about letting go." He stepped forward, becoming pure energy himself, not through royal power or guardian magic, but through simple human choice. Through his connection to Zora, everyone saw what he saw. A cargo pilot's view of space, the quiet moments between stars, the beauty of accepting that you can't control everything, can't save everything, can't be everything. "The Shadow Realm offers infinite choices," Jake said. "The light demands perfect order. But life, real life, happens in the moments we accept we can't have either." Zora's eyes widened. In every reality, she saw it too. Her mother hadn't hidden time to save it. She'd hidden it to teach them all what time really was. A river you couldn't control, only flow with. "The Genesis Protocol," Zora whispered. "It's not a weapon or a key. It's a lesson." She released her hold on the timelines. But instead of chaos, something miraculous happened. The possibilities began arranging themselves, like streams flowing naturally into a river. Light and shadow stopped fighting and started dancing. Uncle Darius stared in wonder. "All this time, we were trying to control it, when we should have been learning from it," Zora finished. The memory seeds burst open, but the Guardians didn't emerge as warriors. They emerged as teachers. Each one carried a piece of the oldest truth. The universe didn't need rulers or protectors. It needed people willing to learn, to grow, to change. The Genesis ship transformed one final time. Its walls became mirrors, showing everyone, royal, rebel, guardian, and shadow, their reflections across all possible timelines. But more importantly, it showed them their present, the only moment they could actually change. Zora looked at Jake, both of them glowing with the power of pure choice, ready to try something that's never been done in any timeline. He took her hand. "Let me guess, we're going to fail spectacularly." She grinned. "Probably. But that's the point, isn't it? The freedom to fail, to learn, to try again." Together, they released everything. All the power, all the possibilities, all the perfect futures and darkest paths. They let it all go. And in that moment of perfect surrender, the universe learned to dance. Reality rewrote itself, not into a perfect order or infinite chaos, but into something new, something that had room for both light and shadow, certainty and possibility, queens and cargo pilots. The royal palace rebuilt itself, but differently. Its walls were transparent now, showing the dance of realities outside. The throne room had no throne, just a circle of chairs where representatives from every world, every timeline, and even the shadow realm could meet as equals. Uncle Darius took his seat among them, his key now glowing with a light that was neither royal nor shadow, but simply true. Queen Helena stepped out of time itself to join them, but she didn't take charge. Instead, she watched proudly as Zara and Jake introduced a new way of governing, one based not on control of reality, but on learning from it. The Genesis ship settled into orbit, its purpose fulfilled, but it wasn't inactive. Now it served as a window, showing anyone who looked the infinite beauty of what could be, balanced always by the simple truth of what is. And late at night, when the dancing lights of possibility lit up the sky, a cargo pilot and a former princess would slip away in an old ship, seeking new adventures in a universe that had finally learned to embrace both its light and its shadows. After all, as Jake liked to say, the best stories don't end. They just flow into new beginnings. Zara would smile, her key glowing softly, no longer with the power to control reality, but with something far more precious, the power to accept it, learn from it, and grow with it. And somewhere, in every timeline, that was enough.